Hello and welcome to HINT, that's short for Huberman Insight Narrow Translation. Before we dive in, do us a favor and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. Okay, let's talk about alcohol. It's everywhere, right? It's at our celebrations, it's how we relax, it's a huge part of our social lives. But what if that nightly glass of wine or that weekend beer is doing a lot more than just taking the edge off? What if it's quietly rewiring your brain and damaging your body from the inside out? Well, the science is in, and it's time we faced some of alcohol's uncomfortable truths together.
This is the big one, isn't it? We've all heard it. Maybe we've even told ourselves this, that a little bit of alcohol, maybe that daily glass of red wine, could actually be good for us. It's a really comforting idea. But does the science actually back it up? And right away, here is our first uncomfortable truth. A massive study from the UK Biobank, we're talking over 35,000 adults, found that even what we'd call low to moderate drinking, so just 1 or 2 drinks a day, is linked to a shrinking of the brain. Yeah, specifically a thinning of the neocortex, which is the part of your brain responsible for all your higher-order thinking and reasoning. So the main takeaway here is pretty stark. The whole idea that there's a healthy or safe amount of daily alcohol, well, it's very likely a myth.
Okay, so let's pull on that thread a bit. We're going to really unpack why even small amounts of alcohol can have this kind of effect, and we'll start with what's actually happening in your brain when you feel that pleasant little buzz. This one quote from Dr. Huberman, it just reframes everything. That feeling of being tipsy or even drunk, it's not just some harmless fun. Biologically speaking, it is a poison-induced disruption of your neural circuits. Just let that sink in for a second. The very buzz you might be looking for from alcohol is literally the feeling of your brain function being actively impaired by a toxin.
So, if it's a poison, how does our body even handle it? Well, it's a fascinating and frankly, a kind of terrifying process of detoxification. Let's follow the journey of a single drink as it makes its way through your system.
And this 3-step process right here reveals the core of the problem. When you drink ethanol, which is a toxin, your liver's first job is to convert it into something even more toxic, a chemical called acetaldehyde. Only after that can it finally be broken down into acetate, which is basically just a form of empty fuel for your body. I mean, think about that. To get rid of this poison, your body has to first create an even more dangerous poison.
And this stuff, acetaldehyde, this is the real villain of the story. It is a known carcinogen, and it doesn't pick and choose what it hurts. It just indiscriminately damages and kills cells wherever it goes, in your liver, in your gut, and yes, in your brain. This is the molecule that's responsible for most of alcohol's destructive effects.
So we know it's a toxin, and we know how the body processes it. But how does it actually create that feeling of being drunk? Let's shift our focus to the brain and see what's happening, both in the short term and, more importantly, in the long term. This chart shows it perfectly. Think of your prefrontal cortex as the CEO of your brain. It's in charge of planning, making good decisions, and, crucially, suppressing your impulsive behaviors. Well, alcohol basically shuts down the CEO. This top-down inhibition is lost, and that's exactly why people get louder, they say things they wouldn't normally say, and they act way more impulsively after just a drink or two.
And this is where it gets really serious. Regular drinking, even just once a week, physically rewires your brain. It literally strengthens the neural pathways for being impulsive, while at the same time it weakens the pathways for thoughtful, controlled behavior. And what's critical to understand is this isn't just when you're drinking, this becomes your brain's new default setting even when you're totally sober. Now the good news is, our brains are plastic. This damage does appear to be largely reversible, but it takes about 2 to 6 months of complete abstinence.
Okay, how many of us have said we need a drink to unwind after a stressful day? It's one of the most common reasons people drink. But what if that very action is actually making you more stressed out overall?
And it's true. In the moment, alcohol can absolutely feel like it's melting the stress away. It calms you down, lets you shake off the day's worries, but this relief, it comes at a hidden biological cost.
So here's the crucial point. When you drink regularly, your body adapts by actually raising your baseline level of stress hormones, like cortisol, for the times when you're sober. It fundamentally changes your body's central stress response system. So what does that mean? It means you actually feel more stressed and more anxious when you're not drinking.
And this right here, this is the trap. Your baseline level of stress and anxiety goes up. So what do you feel like you need to calm down? Another drink. It's a truly vicious cycle,
where the very thing you're using as a solution is actually fueling the problem.
Ah, the hangover. We've all heard of it, and many of us have probably experienced it. But what is a hangover really? Well, it's not just one thing. It's your body dealing with a multi-system crisis. A hangover is a total perfect storm. It's a multi-system assault. First, your sleep architecture is completely shattered, so you get no real restorative rest. Your gut microbiome is in chaos, you're dehydrated, your entire body is inflamed as your immune system tries to fight off all those toxins. And on top of all that, the blood vessels in your brain are constricted, which causes that pounding headache. It is your body in full-on crisis mode.
Okay, so let's get to the bottom line here. What does all of this actually mean for your long-term health? It's time to separate some of the popular myths from the scientific reality.
We have to address the red wine myth head-on. Yes, red wine contains a compound called resveratrol, which might have some health benefits. But the science is crystal clear on this. You would have to drink such a dangerously high amount of wine to get a therapeutic dose that the toxic effects of the alcohol would far outweigh any potential benefit. It's just not a valid reason to drink.
Now, just take a look at this number, 4 to 13%. Let that sit there for a second. This represents one of the most well-documented and serious risks that comes with even moderate drinking.
That number, that's the increased risk of breast cancer for women with every single daily drink. Let me say that again, 1 standard beer or 1 glass of wine a day. That toxic acetaldehyde we talked about earlier damages your DNA, which is a direct pathway to cancer, and it turns out that breast tissue is especially vulnerable. This isn't some vague correlation, it's a direct, dose-dependent relationship that we just can't ignore. Look, the goal here is not to tell anyone what to do. It's to present the science so that you can make a truly informed choice for yourself. And the science is pretty clear. There is no amount of alcohol that is actively good for you. It's a toxin that shrinks your brain, it rewires you for stress and anxiety, and it directly increases your risk of cancer. So the question isn't really about good or bad, it's simply this. Now that you know what a drink truly is and what it does inside your body, how will you see the next one?